Hello everyone! Today we are going to be making Ivysaur. He is about 3 inches tall and about 2.5 inches long. And he fits inside of our Pokeball that we made a couple of weeks ago. So I'm really excited to get started with this. The materials you're going to be needing are a 3.25 millimeter crochet hook, stitch marker or yarn, scissors, a yarn needle, yarn, and the colors you're going to need are jade for the body, spring green for the flower leaves, patty green for his little spots, cream or off-white or regular white, whatever you prefer. I'm using cream for his toes, and cherry red for the flower, the little bloom. It's not completely opened. You'll also need some stuffing. I use polyfill from Walmart. It's kind of soft. You'll also need 3 colors of felt. For this project, I have this little piece because I just have it cut. So red, white, and black. And you will need some embroidery thread, black and white. And I also used an embroidery needle. It's much smaller than the yarn needle. Let me show it to you. So here's the embroidery needle, and here's the yarn needle. So I'll show you the size difference. Quite big difference there. And fabric tack. Alrighty, let's get started. To begin, you're going to want to make a magic ring. Go ahead and create your magic ring. If you need help on this, I have a couple of other videos where I go a little bit slower in making the magic ring and I explain it a little bit better. But for this video, we have a lot of details to cover, so I'm just going to get right in. So we make a magic ring, and we're going to put 6 single crochet into the magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now go ahead and pull that tight. All right. The next round is round 2, and we're going to be making every stitch gets an increase. And I like to weave in or crochet over this tail as I go. So each stitch will get an increase. 1, and 2 for the increase. So 2 stitches into 1 for your increase. It's a little bit tight right there. Okay. At the end of round 2, you will have 12 stitches around, and I will meet you at the end of round 2, increase in every stitch around. I've just finished round 2, and I did 2 stitches in every stitch around, so I now have 12 stitches around. For round 3, first of all, I'm going to clip this yarn tail. Now that we went around and it's nice and secure, That way we don't have to weave it in later. That's why I like to do that. Now our next round is going to be 1 single crochet, 1 increase. So you'll be putting 1 single crochet into the first stitch and 2 single crochets into the next. 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'll do the first one with you, and then we will, so 1 and then an increase, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. I spoke faster than I could crochet. At the end of round 3, you will have 18 stitches. So I will meet you back at the end of round 3. 1 increase, so I'm sorry, 1 single crochet, 1 increase. I have just completed round 3 and I now have 18 stitches around. The next thing that we are going to do, I'm going to use a stitch marker for this row. And you can use a stitch marker for every row. But the next thing we're going to be doing is making the ears for the Ivysaur. So we're going to single crochet 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then on the 9th stitch, we're going to do a popcorn stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that popcorn stitch. So first of all, let's single crochet 8. So 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to meet you when we get to that 9th stitch, because the 9th stitch is the one we're putting the popcorn stitch on. I just completed the 8 single crochets, and now we're going to do the popcorn stitch together. You're going to insert your hook in that next stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over and pull through that first loop. Now you're going to go back down into that same stitch, and we're going to repeat that 4 times. So there's the second time, and this next one is going to be the 3rd time. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through that first loop only. So you now have 4 loops on the hook. We're going to do it one more time, and that will make our 4th time. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through that loop. Now you have 5 loops on your hook. You want to yarn over and pull through all 5 of those loops. And that's that. And then you want to repeat that again. So you want to repeat 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and that one is kind of hidden, that next one. So you'll make sure and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you'll be doing a popcorn stitch where your stitch marker is. So make sure you have those 8 in there so that your head doesn't get lopsided. I'll meet you back after I do the second popcorn stitch for round 5. Yes, round 5. Okay, so I just completed that last popcorn stitch on round 4. We are going into round 5. And round 5 is just 18 single crochets all the way around. So once you get that popcorn stitch, you want to make sure that you go right into that next single crochet and you don't miss it. So you're going to single crochet around 18 times in each of the 18 stitches from the previous round. And the popcorn stitch is only 1 stitch, so when I get there I will show you what to do. I've just come around to my first popcorn stitch. You will see that the stitch is a little bit longer right there. Just go ahead and go into that long stitch and it's exactly the same. So this, I am on 9, stitch number 9, and then now it will be 10, and continue around until you get to 18. I just completed round 6 and we are beginning round 7. On round 7, we are going to do 1 single crochet and then 1 increase 4 times. So you're going to go 1 single crochet and 1 increase, which means 2 single crochets into that next stitch. Repeat that 4 times and then I will meet you. And we are still going to be on round 7 when I meet you. I'm just going to do that pattern that I just did 4 more times. I just completed the 4 single crochet then increase pattern. And now we are going to do 8 single crochets. 1, 2, and continue that around. 8 single crochets, and at the end of this round you will have 22 single crochets. I just completed round 7, and at the end of round 7 you should have 22 single crochets all the way around. We're now going to do round 8, and round 8 is 22 single crochets all the way around. So if you want, you could even put your stitch marker right here if you didn't want to count. You can put your stitch marker in and then single crochet all the way around. So you're just going to do 1, 2, and continue that all the way around. So I have just completed round 8 with 22 single crochets around. We're going to be starting on round 9, and what we're going to do is 2 single crochets, and you should line up right underneath your ear here. So just check if you're in line with that ear. And then we're going to be doing 10 increases. So an increase is 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. So 1 and 2. Now repeat that 10 times and I will see you back here in a minute. I just finished the 10 increases and you can see that it's starting to create his back. So it creates this little lip when you do that many increases in a row. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is 2 single crochets. Again, this will get us right back to that ear. So 1, one second, let me get a closer look here. 1 and 2. And we should be lining up very near this ear, if not completely in line with it. Now, we're going to be doing 5 decreases, and to do a decrease, you want to insert your hook and come up front loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you're going to insert your hook into that next stitch, front loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you will have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3, and that is how you make 1 stitch out of 2 stitches. So a decrease is making 2 stitches into 1 stitch. So you're going to continue 4 more decreases for a total of 5 decreases in the front of the Ivysaur. I'm on my 5th decrease and I just wanted to show it to you one more time. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert your hook to the front loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop. You will have 3, yarn over and pull through all 3. And that is your decrease. And now we are on, so that is the end of round 9, sorry. That was the end of round 9, and now we will do round 10. Round 10 is 22 single crochets and then half double crochet 2 together. So first do 22 single crochets and I will meet you at that point. So starting here, you do 22 single crochets. 1, 2, and continue that all the way around. You will have 22 single crochets all the way around. I just finished the 22 single crochets, and I meant to say it would be about halfway around. It's not all the way around. We haven't quite made it to the very, we started this round right here. So we haven't made it all the way back to the end of the round, but we do have 22 single crochets. Next, we're going to be doing a half double crochet, 2 together. So what that means, and we're going to do that 3 times, is you're going to make a half double crochet while doing a decrease. So you're going to be putting 2 together. So to do a half double crochet, first of all, you need to yarn over before you go into a stitch. So yarn over, and I'm going to go into the front loop only again. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you're going to want to insert your hook into that next one. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and you'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through those 4, and that is a half double together. So you do that 3 times. So 1, that was our first one, 2, and 3. And then you're at the end of round 10. At the end of round 10, you want to stop and pause and add face details. So what I do is I pull that quite long so it's not going to come loose, and you can see you have your face. And I like to add the details now because I feel like it's easier before you put stuffing in. It's just a little bit easier to work with his face like it is now. So let me show you how to do that. So I wanted to real quick say, we're not adding the eyes yet. I wait till the very end to add the eyes, but we do embroider. So we need our black embroidery thread, our white embroidery thread, and our patty green yarn. I'm going to start with our patty green yarn and yarn needle. Just go ahead and thread it. And we don't need very much. I actually have a short little piece. We don't really need very much of it. So you're going to take his little head, and in between about round 2 and 3, so right here, you're going to take your yarn, and what I like to do is just hold all of these pieces out of the way so we don't accidentally sew them up into the body. So just go ahead and go through about the center of his head to make his first little spot. And I go in and out just like this. And for that first spot, I do a couple of yarn. I make it like a little triangle. And then for the second spot, we're going to go to the left of it. And in between the 3rd and 4th. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In between the 3rd and 4th row. We're going to go back and forth. And this one I go back and forth twice. Oops, see, look, I'm about to make a mess here. It's very easy to get all of the tails tangled up. So just kind of watch what you're doing and take your time. All right, and then I just tie it off in there and cut it. The next detail I like to do is the brows, his little angry eyebrows, and those are just below the green spots. So it's going to be about in between round, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in between round 4 and 5. No, yes. And if it helps, you can place 2 little things where you want his eyes to be. 2 little pins, if it helps. Kind of get your idea of where you're going. So you go ahead and take your thread and you give him his little angry eyebrows. Oops, that is not the right spot. And then I'm going to take that out now that I've gone through. Okay. And now I'm not going to cut this embroidery thread yet. I've got his eyebrows on. I like where they're at. They're pretty centered. Next, I'm going to make his nostrils. And those are a couple of rows down from there. And they're pretty teeny tiny. Kind of have to look closely to see them. Whoopsie, come here. Been a little tricky. Okay. Two little nostrils. I believe that is a good placement for them. Okay. Next thing you're going to want to do is the mouth. And he's kind of frowning a little bit. So the way I did that was I kind of took the yarn across and then pulled it down, and there's a little V right there if you can see that. So let's go ahead and do that next. So I'm going to go in right there and come across to over here. And with any luck, see, it kind of flattens out straight. So then you're going to take your needle up here, in between the two nostrils that we did. And pull that through. And then just go under this black yarn here and pull it up and go right back in. Almost the same exact spot, if not the same exact spot. And give him a little frown. And then you're going to make a couple more of these little notches just to get the face how you want it. So up and over. And see how that makes him a little bit frowny and it gives it a little more shape. And then one more over here. And you are good. And if you want to add a little V like I did, then just add a few more of these and make it into a V shape. Alright, I will see you for the next round. I actually decided I really like this little guy's expression like that. So the last thing we have to do with the embroidery thread is the white thread, and we need to give him 2 teeth. So I'm going to have my other little guy down there for reference. And the 2 teeth go kind of on the side over here. Just poking out like fangs. So I'm going to go up. And I did 2 on each side. So I'll show you one and then I will let you do the second one on your own. So there's the first stitch, and then I actually go back in and do another one to kind of make it like a triangle shape. Uh-oh, some black popped up through. I have to get that out of there. See how that popped through? Come here. So all I'm going to do is go to the back and get it out of there, so that doesn't happen again. So that's how you do the tooth. And make another one on this side and you are golden. So something very bad happened to me off camera. I accidentally cut my yarn. So if that happens to you, don't worry. I ended up just taking these out, and what you can do if that happens to you, I decided to use it as a teaching moment, is just go ahead and pull out some stitches, and you're gonna have to reattach your yarn. So what you'll do is just redo those stitches. So this is round 10, so that you're not confused. I'm going to redo those stitches at round 10, and then I will show you what to do next, because I have a problem, and I was thinking that I was just going to go back and fix it, but then I was like, no, it'll be a good teaching moment while you're working these details, just in case that happens to you. So yeah, so I wasn't being very careful, and I went in there to cut the white yarn, and I cut the blue yarn. So okay, I'm going to redo these, and then I'll show you what to do to join the other piece of yarn on back. You don't have to start your whole head over if this happens, is what I'm saying. Luckily, after round 10, it's very simple. Normally I would stuff, but right now I'm going to just show you what to do to hide this yarn tail. Grab your good piece of yarn that's attached to your yarn ball or yarn roll, and the next 3 rows are just 24 single crochets. So luckily that's easy. So we're going to go in like we're going to do a single crochet, but instead of pulling up a loop, we're going to put this new yarn on, and we are going to pull the new yarn through and yarn over with the new yarn. Okay? And then you have these 2 kind of loose. It's kind of funny because it's the same color. This is also how you do a color change. So you have these 2 kind of loose pieces of yarn. You're just going to crochet over them to hide them and keep them snugly in place. So now, well, my yarn is splitting weird. Okay, let me see what's going on here. There we go. I fixed that. So you were going to go around 24 single crochets. But before you do that, because normally you want to stuff the head. So go ahead and get your stuffing and stuff the head. And stuff it pretty good, but leave it a little bit loose because you can stuff it more as we go. So now, for the next 3 rows, you do 24 single crochets around. So I've already done 3, so I still have to do 21 stitches. And do that 3 times, so that's round 11, 12, and 13. So I will meet you back on row 14. So do 3 rows of 24 single crochets. I have just finished round 13. We're starting on round 14, and you should have 24 single crochets all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and add a little more stuffing because we've gotten his body a little bit bigger. And just add stuffing as you go, and it'll be easy as pie. Okay, now for round 14, you're going to do 18 single crochets and then 6 decreases. So go ahead and do your 18 single crochets, and then I will meet you to do these 6 decreases with you. I have just done my 18 single crochets, and now we're going to do single crochet decreases. So we're going to do 6 of them. I like to go on the front loop only. And there is 1. If you need help on these, you can rewind the video. There is a slower motion of them. So I'm going to do 5 more, and then I will meet you back. So I've just completed the 6 decreases for round 14, and at the end of round 14 you should have 18 single crochets around. Go ahead and stuff your Ivysaur a little bit more. Keep stuffing as we go. For round 15, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease. And at the end of this round, we will have 12 stitches. So 1 single crochet, 1 decrease. Continue that pattern all the way around and you should have 12 stitches at the very end of this round. Alright, I just came to the end of round 15. We have 12 single crochet stitches. Now we need to go ahead and stuff this little critter as full as we can get him. And then the last round is going to be decreases in every single stitch around. So what you're going to do is put a decrease in every single stitch, just like that. And I will see you at the end of round 16. Okay, I've just come to the 6th decrease. I'm going to do a slip stitch. Clip my yarn, pull that through, and you're going to take a yarn needle, and this is like the coolest thing ever. I love this way to finish off your creatures. Put the yarn on the needle, thread your needle, that's the right word, and you're going to go in front loops only with your needle. Around each of the 6 stitches that are remaining. And then you are going to pull it tight, and it creates a perfect little circle. So there you go. And then just weave in and out and tie off, and I will meet you back for the next step on this critter. Okay, I lied, we're not doing his ears yet, but I wanted to show you a cool way you could tie these together. If you come out on the same exact spot with both of your yarn tails, you can just tie these together and make a double knot. Then you can make these exactly the same length. Oh, throwing things around here. Then you can just go right back in that hole and pop that knot through. Squish that back so that you can't tell that there was anything coming through there. Clip those, and then you just push that right back in, and it's super secure and it's not gonna go anywhere, hopefully. Okay, for his ears, I really like the little black kind of shadow look, so that you can see that these are his ears. So I just made a triangle and kind of went back and forth until I got the look that I wanted. Oh, that was weird. Okay. This is looking pretty sketchy here. I am having trouble with the camera in front of me. My skills aren't so... Here we go. Then I'm just going to fill all of that in with the black. Okay, here we go. It's starting to look better, right? One more spot to cover up. Let's get it. done. Okay, and then I will do the other side just like that. Hopefully you have a little bit better luck on your first go of it. Come on. There we go. See, it just kind of really makes the ears stand out and pop out. Really like it. Alrighty. Next, we are going to make the front legs. You will need to make 2 of these. I'm just going to make 1 with you. You're going to start with a magic ring of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Round 2, you crochet into the back loops only, and you're going to want to hide your yarn tail, and you're going to crochet 6 single crochets back loop only. So 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops, my yarn split, 4, 5, and 6. And now you're going to do 2 more rows, row 3 and 4, and you're going to single crochet 1 in every stitch. So you will continue to have 6 around. So do round 3 and 4, 6 single crochets, and I will meet you at that point. I just finished up with the round 4, the 6th stitch, and next you're going to want to put a slip stitch in at the end of that leg. You're going to want to leave some of your yarn tail for sewing. It doesn't have to be massively long because it's a pretty small little creature that we're making. And then we're going to take cream yarn and make the toes, and patty yarn and make, so you don't need very much. I think that's about 5 inches there. So go ahead and start with the toes, and you'll do this to the back legs as well. So I'm just going to show you on one of the front legs, but I will show you on the back legs I only put 1 little spot. On the front legs I put 2 spots, on the back leg I put 1 thicker spot. So here's how I make the spots and the toes. Here is the foot. I just go directly in and come out of the very bottom center. And then I like to go in where the stitches are, and it kind of makes this like natural animal paw, claw looking thing. So then I just go back down in the very center, back up, down the center, and I'm going to go in between these two because they're kind of far apart. Hopefully. There we go. And there we've got our 3 little toes. You can kind of manipulate them a little. And then I just tie these 2 pieces of yarn together. Woo! Can't catch it. And then I will, after I get the green, I'm gonna shoot them down through and then clip them. So for our patches, I'm gonna do pretty much the same technique. Thread your needle and come on the side here and add those patches in. Just like so. Alright, I'm going to tie these up off camera and hide the yarn tails off camera. The back legs are very similar to the front legs, except a little bit shorter and a little bit wider. So we're going to start again with a magic circle or a magic ring, whichever you prefer to call it, of 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull it tight. Again, we're going to do 6 in the back loop only. I'll meet you when I get all the way around. Okay, I just completed my 6 and I crocheted over that tail, so I'm going to go ahead and clip it. Now, our third round is our final round. We're going to do 1 single crochet, 3 increases, then 2 single crochets. So we need to do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to have 3 increases. So that's 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. 1 and 2. And we'll do that 2 more times. 1 and 2. And 1 more time. 1 and 2. And those stitches get pretty tight. Just work into them. Take your time. It's okay. And then we end with 2 single crochets. And so at the end of that round, you will have 9 single crochets around. And then we're going to go ahead and slip stitch. And that is it. A little tiny leg. Flip your yarn. You go ahead and add your toes on there. 1, 2, and 3. And I add 1 patch on this. 1 thicker patch on these legs. I have finished all my little legs. So once you get to this point, you're going to want to sew them on to your creature. I keep calling him a creature. His name is Ivysaur. You want to sew his legs onto him. And so the best way I found, because I like to make sure that they're going to stand up at the end. You know, I want them to be able to stand on their own. And so the best way I found is I check that it's going to stand up without my help by pinning it on there. And, oops, this one's a little funky. Wonky. Okay. So there's that. He can stand. And his 2 back legs. The back legs are funny because they're super, super short. But that's how it looks in the pictures I've looked up. He's just kind of got bulkier back legs while he's in this Ivysaur stage. When he's a Venusaur, his legs are like almost all exactly the same. So that is next week, guys. Venusaur. Alright, I've been really enjoying doing all of these original Pokemons, and Bulbasaur was the first one, Ivysaur is the second one, and Venusaur is the third. So I just kind of like eyeball it and look at it and make sure that it's going to stand without falling over, and then I sew them on. So I will see you after I sew these back on. I'm not going to sew them on camera because I really want them to look nice. So a couple tips when you're sewing, just go like right here where these stitches are so that you can go back and forth where these stitches are, so that when you go in you won't be able to see your stitches and it'll look like the leg is just magically attached. So I will see you after I get done sewing this guy together. So I just completed sewing the legs onto the Ivysaur, and now we're going to make the leaves of the Ivysaur's little plant on his back. So we're going to begin not making a magic ring. What? We're going to make a slip knot. Now insert your hook into the slip knot and chain 5. We're going to single crochet back along this chain 5, and we're going to single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in this 4th chain, we are going to put 3 more single crochets, and that's going to turn us to the other side of the piece. So 1, 2, 3. Next, we're going to single crochet 4 down the body of the center of the leaf. So 1, and as I go, I am crocheting over my yarn tail so I do not have to sew it in later. 2, 3, and 4. And now I will clip this tail, and that completes round 2. Round 3, we are going to slip stitch in the back loop only. And then we are going to chain 2, breaking free from the leaf. And then we're going to slip stitch back to the main part of the leaf. Next, we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to slip stitch back to the main part of the leaf. And we are going to repeat this pattern. Chain 2, slip stitch back, chain 3, slip stitch back, all the way around the leaf. Up here, if you want to add an extra slip stitch, I did write it in the pattern on round 5, you add, no, it's round 7, you add an extra slip stitch and it causes like a little bit of a split in the leaf, so like this. So you can play around with it. So the pattern is chain 2, slip stitch back, chain 3, slip stitch back. Follow that pattern all the way around, and when you get over here, you will slip stitch to the end of the leaf, and I will meet you on that part. It'll be the last 3 chains. So I'm just coming to the end of the round. I just did chain 3 and I'm slip stitching back to the main part of the leaf. Whoops. And I'm going to slip stitch 3. So that was 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to clip my yarn, and that is how you make a leaf. And then we will be sewing these leaves onto Ivysaur's back. And that's our first little leaf. You can manipulate it a little bit. And there it is. So once you get the leaves all completed, you just want to go ahead and begin sewing them onto Ivysaur's back. So what I do is I just place it on there and start going in the center. And secure them down. And just do that same method with all 4 leaves. Put them in, so start with 1 leaf, do this one, then 1, and then 1 right there. So 4 leaves, and that way they just lay kind of free. So now we're going to be making the flower, and I said red at the beginning of this video, but then I was working on the Ivysaur pattern and I wasn't sure what color the spots were on the little flower, and so I looked it up and it said that it's like a bright pink flower. So I was like, oh no. So I think it looks okay with the red. I mean, I think it looks cute. I really like it, but if you want it to be closer to the Pokemon character, then I would use some pink yarn, and I'm going to be using pink yarn for this tutorial. So I have to get my facts straight before I write patterns, I guess. Go ahead and make a slip knot, and we're going to chain 21. For the foundation chain, it'll be 21. 1, 2, 3. So continue up to 21 stitches. So I now have my 21 single crochets on my foundation chain. We're now going to be doing 10 half. In the next 10 stitches, we're going to be doing 3 half double crochet into each stitch. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the second chain from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And we're going to want to do 2 more of those in that same stitch. Now continue that 3 half double crochets in every stitch for 9 more stitches, and I will meet you there. You'll notice that you're starting to make a little curlicue. That's good. That'll be the beginning shape of our flower. So the next round, well, it's the same, it's kind of a different round, but it's like all on the same foundation chain. So you're going to do 3 double crochets into each stitch for the next 5 stitches. So for the next 5 stitches, you're going to do double crochets. A double crochet is yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Do that 3 times in the next 5 stitches. So here's my second one and my third one. So now we have 4 more stitches to do that in. And I will meet you when we get there. Now, you should have 5 stitches left on your chain. And you're going to do 3 treble crochets into each stitch for the next 5 stitches. A treble is you wrap the yarn around your hook twice, so 1 and 2. Go down in that next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. One more time because the treble's kind of tricky. Yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over. At that point you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So before you yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that was our second treble in that stitch, so you need to put 1 more treble in that stitch. So you're going to put 3 trebles in every last 5 stitches that there are. So I will see you at the very end of the chain. So now we have this like curly Q thing. We are going to put a slip stitch right here to hold it in place. And we're going to clip our yarn. And kind of unroll this flower, curl. So unroll it so that you can make it like that shape, kind of like a rose. We need to thread our yarn needle out of the way. Okay. And we want to take this and shape our bloom by weaving in and out of all of these pieces. Again, if you're feeling frustrated, just take your time and be patient. It takes time to learn how to crochet. It takes many mistakes, trial and error. So just continue going around in this manner. And when you're done getting it the shape you want it to look, go down through the center and sew it onto the Ivysaur's back. So I'm happy with the shape that my bloom is. I'm going to grab Ivysaur, and I made the yarn go down and I tucked in the other yarn and hid it. So we're just going to sew directly down through Ivysaur, all the way down through his belly. We're just going to go all the way through. Go back in through that hole that you created and go back up to that bloom. And you know what, I'm looking at it now and it looks much better with the pink. Isn't that funny? I was like, oh, it's so cute with red, but oh my goodness, what happened to my yarn? Look at that. Something happened on the way up. Get that out of there. All right. We're having issues. I don't want to that, but I kind of have to. It's not on there tight enough yet. Huh, that was strange. Of course, if it's going to happen, it'll happen on camera. Right. I'm just going to secure it down. And I think I'm going to take some more yarn and secure it down better on camera. There he is. Now we have to do his eyes, so we'll do that next. So we got his flower on to his back. Now we need to put his eyes on. And I went ahead and I just cut these pieces, and when you cut your pieces, just make sure that they're gonna fit nicely on him. So like that's a good size. So to do his, let's sit him right there. To do his eyes, you're going to want to grab some fabric tack, and be careful with the fabric tack because it comes out quite fast. And you can put some pins in to make sure it's exactly where you want the eyes. Because once you put it down, once you put the fabric glue down, it's not coming up. I'm happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to put a tiny little drop of glue. Mine is, there we go. Pardon my reach over your view. Then you're just going to want to hold that down for a couple seconds. And then do the same thing with the other side, but my glue is having malfunction again. What am I going to do with this glue? Okay. The next step is the red triangles. I'm going to put 2 small drops of glue since my glue is acting funny again. 1 and 2 really quick. Grab those reds. I grabbed a black piece. Okay, I'll slide those where they need to go really quick. That one's a little messed up. There we go. And then to put the black ones on, I just dip my needle down in there, slide it on, and put it on, and then I'm going to trim it, so don't worry. It gets trimmed. I'm going to do the second one. You want to work as quickly as you can. Sit. Okay. So now our pieces are kind of on there. Now we're going to trim them. makes a huge difference. That's not coming off. Okay, that's not coming off. All right, and he's done. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube tutorial today. I hope you learned something about our little Mr. Ivysaur. Hope you're having a great day or night, whatever time you're watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And we have another little guy done for our Pokemon project. Yay!